I used to think betrayal was a single moment, a sharp, clean break that cuts your life in two. But it's not. It's slower. It starts as a whisper behind your ribs, something you ignore until one day, it becomes the only sound you hear. That night I watched my wife kiss another man. Not by accident, not a mistake, no. It was deliberate. Slow. Her hands pressed against his chest like she'd done it 100 times before. Music played, people laughed, and I stood there, frozen in the noise, watching my world fold in on itself. When I finally walked up to her, she didn't even flinch. She just looked me in the eye and said, "You're mistaken." And I told her quietly, "You just ended our marriage." I walked away before she could say another word. But she didn't follow. She didn't call out. She didn't cry. She just let me go like that was the plan all along. In the elevator, I saw my reflection in the metal walls. I looked like a ghost wearing my own face. I wanted to believe I'd misunderstood what I saw. That maybe it was nothing, a drunken mistake, a misunderstanding. But deep down I knew. That kiss wasn't the start of something. It was the finale. The end of a performance I hadn't realized I'd been part of. When I got home, everything looked painfully normal. The dog wagged its tail. The dishwasher hummed. Her blanket was on the couch. But sitting on the dining table was her iPad, screen glowing softly like it was waiting for me. I don't know what made me open it. Maybe instinct. Maybe denial. But when I did, it all fell apart. Her messages were still open. No names, just initials, one of them C. I already knew who C was. The man from the rooftop. I scrolled through their texts, my pulse thundering. C. You looked incredible tonight. Wish I could have taken you home. Her. You will soon. Just be patient. He's slow, but he's not stupid. He's slow, but he's not stupid. That was me. I kept reading messages, jokes, plans. Her saying she lied to me about staying up late for work. Her mocking my routines. Even a photo of me asleep on the couch. The caption said, "While the husband sleeps, the queen makes plans." I should have smashed that tablet. I wanted to, but something inside me said no, keep it. Proof. I didn't even know why yet. Hours later she came home. Calm. Collected. Like nothing happened. She got into bed, turned her back and sighed contently, as if it had been a good night. I lay there beside her, eyes open, heart hammering, thinking, who are you? The next morning she made coffee like always. Humming. Smiling. Acting like she hadn't detonated my life 12 hours earlier. That's when I realized the iPad was just the surface. She had a shared folder on her laptop, something we both used for bills and paperwork. I opened it while she was showering. Inside were documents, property transfer drafts, spreadsheets labeled timeline, personal/legal separation. It was color-coded like a project plan. My name was already typed into the ownership transfer. Then I saw it, one line highlighted in yellow. June 22nd, involve C in a public incident. Make it visible. That kiss wasn't spontaneous. It was staged. Scheduled. She wanted me to see it. It wasn't about passion or guilt. It was about control, about crafting a story where she was the victim and I was the problem. Later that week I found more files, screenshots, lists, rehearsed lines for future arguments. If he finds the texts, deny first, then cry. If he threatens divorce, say he's emotionally unstable. She'd scripted every possible reaction I could have, down to my silence. I wasn't her husband anymore, I was a character in her play. And the worst part? I'd been nailing my role. That night I couldn't sleep. Every word she'd ever said started to sound rehearsed in my head. Every apology. Every fight. All part of a script. I realized I'd never actually known my wife. I'd only known the version she wanted me to see, that I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because by then I understood something. She wasn't impulsive, she was strategic. And you can't win against someone like that by shouting. You win by rewriting the script. So I started digging. Quietly. Patiently. I found an old college friend of hers, Isla. They hadn't spoken in years. I emailed her, not expecting an answer. But within 10 minutes she replied. I've been waiting for this email for years. When we spoke, Isla told me things that chilled me to the bone. Michelle, my wife, had done this before. With exes, coworkers, even friends. She'd fabricated evidence, forged messages, manipulated people until they doubted their own memory. She called it narrative control. Isla said. If she's scripting again, she's near the endgame. You need to get out before the curtain falls. That's when I realized she wasn't just cheating on me. She was constructing my downfall. A few nights later, I saw an email pop up on her laptop. Incident report draft. Ready for review. My stomach dropped. When she left the room, I opened it. It was a fake timeline of me, accusing me of emotional abuse, intimidation, financial control. None of it true, but written like a legal report. She was preparing to destroy me before leaving, to make sure everyone saw her as the survivor, and me as the monster. That night, something in me snapped. Not with anger, with clarity. I realized she'd built her entire life around controlling people's stories. But this time she'd underestimated mine. I spent days moving like a ghost through the house, pretending everything was fine. Smiling, laughing, nodding, while I was documenting everything. Every message, file, timeline, and draft. I backed it all up on a private drive. I met with a lawyer, someone who specialized in digital evidence. And when everything was ready, I made my move. I filed first. When she was served, she was still in her robe, sipping coffee, scrolling through her phone. She blinked at the papers, confused. "Wendell, what is this?" I said. "You told me I was wrong that night on the rooftop. Remember?" She froze. "Well," I said, "you were right about one thing. I was slow, but I'm not stupid." She didn't respond, just stood there silent. When we sat across from each other in mediation, my lawyer presented the evidence, her documents, her fake reports, the metadata, even Isla's statement. For the first time in our marriage, Michelle didn't have a line ready. She just deflated, like a story that had lost its audience. As we signed the papers, she whispered, "You weren't supposed to get ahead of me." I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. When I walked out of that building, it didn't feel like freedom. It felt like silence, deep, clean, honest silence. The kind that hurts before it heals. For years, I'd been living inside someone else's script. But now, for the first time, I was writing my own. And maybe that's what betrayal really is, not the moment you're broken, but the moment you finally stop pretending you're not.